The Galactic Council was a monolithic force of diplomacy and control, a conglomeration of the oldest and most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. They enforced their rules with an iron grip, maintaining a tenuous peace among the stars. When Earth joined the Council a few decades prior, its admission was met with skepticism and derision. Humans were seen as primitive, impulsive, and dangerous, a species that hadn't earned its place among the galactic elite. Tensions came to a boiling point during a skirmish between human explorers and a military patrol from the Rakshan hierarchy, a long-standing council member. Though the humans claimed they had strayed into Rakshan space due to a navigational error, the Rakshans accused them of espionage. Two human soldiers, Captain Elias Grant and Sergeant Maya Torres, were captured during the conflict. They were swiftly handed over to the Council for trial. The Council saw an opportunity in the incident. To them, humans needed to be humbled. Publicly punishing these two soldiers would send a clear message to Earth and any other upstart species: the Council's authority was absolute. Elias and Maya were brought to the Council's central station, a sprawling artificial structure orbiting a dying star. Here, the Council maintained its tribunals, research labs, and, most infamously, its re-education facilities. The two soldiers were charged with breaching galactic borders and espionage. Despite the lack of evidence, the verdict was inevitable. They were sentenced to re-education, a process that was anything but rehabilitative. For weeks, Elias and Maya were subjected to brutal interrogations. Alien devices scanned their minds, attempting to force confessions that would validate the Council's narrative. They were exposed to mental and physical torments designed to break even the strongest individuals. Yet, no matter how intense the torture became, they refused to yield. Their silence was a defiance the Council hadn't anticipated. Back on Earth, news of their capture sparked outrage. The United Earth Directorate, UED, demanded their immediate release, citing violations of interstellar law. The Council, however, dismissed these protests, with High Chancellor Draxel of the Sithran Collective stating during a public session, "Earth must learn its place in the galactic order. Their soldiers violated our borders. This is justice." Admiral Naomi Vance, Earth's representative in the Council, stood before the Assembly. Her voice was calm but carried an edge of steel. "Chancellor Draxel, Earth does not recognize this as justice. You've captured our people, tortured them, and used this trial as a spectacle to demean us. We demand their immediate release." Draxel leaned back in his chair, a smug grin spreading across his reptilian face. "Admiral, your species lacks the strength to demand anything. What will Earth do? Protest? The Council enforces peace, and any act of retaliation will be met with overwhelming force." Vance met his gaze without flinching. "Chancellor, Earth has a saying, do not provoke the quiet ones. Consider this your warning." In the shadow of a dying star, the UEV Resolute emerged from a warp jump, accompanied by an armada of Earth's most advanced warships. Their hulls gleamed with cutting-edge technology, bristling with weaponry that reflected decades of rapid innovation. Inside the Council's central station, alarms blared as the fleet approached. Holograms in the main chamber displayed the ominous sight. "This is madness," exclaimed Envoy Triln of the Valexis Alliance. "They dare threaten us?" "They won't attack," Draxel scoffed. "This is a bluff. Humans lack the power to challenge the Council directly." Moments later, the fleet stopped just beyond the station's defensive perimeter. A single transmission came through, broadcast on all frequencies. "This is Admiral Naomi Vance of the United Earth Directorate," the message began. "Release our soldiers immediately, or we will consider this an act of war. You have 1 hour to comply." Draxel chuckled, addressing the Assembly. "Bluster. Let them bark. They can do nothing to harm us." As he spoke, the station's lights flickered. Control panels sparked, and holograms dissolved into static. Emergency protocols failed to activate. What's happening? Triln demanded, his voice rising with panic. Our systems are compromised, shouted a technician. They've overridden our security grid. Vance's voice returned, colder this time. Your defenses are gone. Your station is now under our control. Release our soldiers, or we'll disable life support next. This is an outrage. Draxel bellowed. Humans wouldn't dare. Try us, Vance replied. Deep within the station, Elias and Maya were chained to their respective cells when the doors abruptly unlocked. A squad of human marines stormed in, clad in sleek combat armor, their weapons glowing with a faint blue light. Captain Grant, Sergeant Torres, their leader said, cutting their restraints. We're taking you home. Elias winced as he stood, his movements slow and deliberate. Took you long enough, he said with a weak grin. Maya chuckled despite her injuries. About time someone crashed this party. As they moved through the corridors, the human squad encountered minimal resistance. Most of the alien guards had already surrendered, terrified by Earth's technological prowess and the sudden collapse of their systems. Back in the council chamber, Draxel and the other envoys watched in stunned silence as the fleet hovered ominously outside. Vance's voice filled the room once more. This was a warning, she said. Harm another human, and we won't stop at disabling your systems. We will dismantle this council, station by station, until none of you remain. Run if you like. Hide if you must. It won't matter. The transmission ended. Moments later, the fleet vanished into warp space, leaving the station battered but intact. In the weeks that followed, the Council faced a reckoning. Fear of humanity spread through its member civilizations. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy's most powerful alliance found itself vulnerable. And on Earth, Elias and Maya were welcomed home as heroes, their resilience a testament to the indomitable human spirit.